unaccustomed to turnout. I don't know.
That's actually a chair that George Washington said they're going to get in trouble.
I usually like it, so.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Ruth Goldway, the chairman of the Postal Regulatory Commission, and I'm pleased to call this monthly open meeting of the Commission to order on Wednesday, March 14th. I'm pleased to note that we have a full house today, people who are interested in learning about the proceedings of the Commission. I'm glad they're taking advantage of the public meetings that we have to learn about what we do. I hope you already have received an agenda. The meeting is so that the leading staff in our agency can report publicly on the activities of the staff and the various processes of the Commission, and that people in the audience can hear, and that people who are listening on our webcast can hear as well and be informed of what we do. The presentations are made, and there's an opportunity for the chairman and my fellow commissioners to ask questions of the staff so that you who are listening can get a sense of how we think and what the issues are that we want to focus on. And then at the end of the meeting, we have something I've designated as the chairman's public comment period, where we do allow people who are in the audience to say a word or two very briefly. And we'll see, we've never had this kind of crowd before, so we'll see how such a comment period can be managed with a large crowd, and we'll have to understand we'll be making it up as we go and try to keep it short, because we also have to adjourn into a closed session of the meeting where we talk about pending litigation. And we have an abbreviated time period in which we have to complete all of that work. I'll simply say again that I welcome everybody here. I want to emphasize that the Postal Regulatory Commission is a very small agency with 75 people, but we work diligently, and we continue to work at greater and greater productivity levels to match the concerns and the challenges that the Postal Service presents to us. As the regulator, we have to oversee what they do, and as they contemplate change, we have to review those contemplations, and our role is therefore more and more important, I believe, in the dialogue about what the future of the Postal Service will be. I have with me my fellow commissioners. I'd like to introduce them. Vice Chair Nancy Langley, all the way to my right, then Commissioner Robert Taub, and Commissioner Mark Acton. Would any of you like to say anything before we enter the business part of our meeting?
I would just like to echo your remarks and to welcome everyone who is with us today. We do have a lot on our plate. The month of March, besides worrying about the various brackets for basketball, we really do quite a bit of work in March. Our annual compliance determination comes out in a couple of weeks, and so I know everyone on the dais and everyone else in the audience will be interested to hear what we're doing this month and into the future, so thank you.
Mr. Tom?
Good morning. Thank you for the time. Indeed, as the Vice Chairman said, we do have a full docket, if you will, this morning to items to get through, including a presentation from the Military Postal Service Agency, which is, if you will, on the tip of the spear, ensuring our men and women in the military and their families get that hard copy communication. And if there's any great example of the enduring need and quality of hard copy communication, one only needs to look at the men and women stationed around our planet when they get that hard copy letter or card or packet. And email and Skype are important, but the enduring value of hard copy communications and the Postal Service to our nation is important. And I think that presentation today will help underline that. And indeed, as was noted, we have a full room today, and if I understand correctly, it's a lot of our friends from the American Postal Workers Union. And I'd just like to give a tip of the hat to all of you, because this nation's Postal Service is obviously facing a lot of financial challenges, and we know all the bad and sometimes scary news, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of strength to the system. It's a key cog in our nation's economy. And the reason it is because of the hardworking men and women in our Postal Service. So a thank you for all you do as well today. But with that, we'll move along our docket. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Acton?
I would just echo all of the above and welcome to our special guests and let you know that we look forward to hearing from you today, as well as our office heads.
Sounds like we have some children here too. We welcome them.
I was going to say the youngster
Yeah.
or youngsters in the back, we welcome you.
Okay, we'll begin with a report from our Director of Government Affairs and Public Relations. Government Relations and Public Affairs. Ann Fisher, who will talk to us about legislative activities. Ann?
My report on legislation will be very brief. Little to nothing has transpired since we last met. It's not really fair to say, I suppose, that the Senate is working very hard with a large contingency of senators who had many issues with the Senate bill in 1789. They're trying to find a way to make some headway and get more people on board with potential passage of the bill. Senator Reid is getting anxious to bring the bill to the floor. You may have seen some recent news articles where he's basically said, time is up, I've given you plenty of time to negotiate, try and work out some adjustments, but it's time to bring the bill to the floor. Yet we still don't know exactly when it will come to the floor. What I've been told by everyone who's working on it is it should be within the next few weeks. So not very helpful, I know, but they are working very, very hard. The staff at this point is remaining fairly tight-lipped about the status of the negotiations. And on the House side, it's pretty much the same situation that it's been in for the past few months. Chairman Issa has a strong desire to bring the bill to the floor and is working to make that happen. Obviously, it has yet to happen. On Capitol Hill, but separate from legislation, the Senate Oversight Committee held a nomination hearing for Tony Hammond, who's been nominated to return to the commission as a commissioner and serve the remainder of a term that expires in, I believe, November of this year. It's very brief. But his hearing was held on March 6th, chaired by Senator Carper, and Senator Brown served as ranking member. I was told today that his nomination, is expected to be considered as part of a full committee business meeting on March 28th. I will also give my update on the inquiries coming into my office. During the past month of February, the Office of Public Affairs and Government Relations received 208 individual comments and inquiries, and we're continuing to respond and close out inquiries that we received in January. Of the general inquiries, 66 were requests for assistance, which we referred to the Office of the Consumer Advocate at the Postal Service as Reader Service Issues for Investigation and Response. Of the overall comments that we received, 35 comments and inquiries concerned possible post office closings. and 32 concerned docket N 2012-1, the nature of service case and the Postal Service's request for our advisory opinion on changes in service standards. For this docket, overall, to date, we have received 637 individual comments, along with several thousand form letters and postcards. That completes my report.